Hi, my name is Tia, and for my final project, I did a report on ethically communicating support for multicultural populations in television commercials. So, I looked at two different theories to propose a potential solution to this problem. The first one was contextual ethics theory, which states that you must consider variations in cultures, settings, and persons when trying to ethically solve a problem. The next theory that I used was individualism. And individualism is the belief that you can understand a situation holistically despite where individual limitations to understand may occur. So the first commercial that I talked about in my findings section was a 2014 Coke commercial. It was later re-aired in 2017 during the Super Bowl because it ended up being very popular. The Coke commercial features the song America the Beautiful being sung in several different languages. And then there's also some featuring of some very cultural diverse actors in the commercial as well. So the first thing that Coke did is that they definitely considered variations in setting when choosing to re-air this commercial this year. So this commercial was aired actually during talks of immigration bans in our country, and so as you can imagine, some of the multicultural population with this issue may have felt feelings of exclusion. Coke re-airing this commercial during that time. Showing support for multiculturalism definitely sent a very strong message. The next thing that Coke did that showed respect with contextual ethics in mind is that they feature culturally diverse actors. And so traditional beliefs of culturally diverse may only consider racial diversity as part of the multicultural population, but Coke actually showed support for the LGBTQ community by also featuring a gay couple in their commercial as well. So they definitely paid respect to all different types of multicultural populations instead of what just traditional beliefs may have stated they would be. The next thing that Coke did in this commercial that was very good is that they juxtapositioned different languages to this patriotic theme. So, America the Beautiful is obviously a very patriotic theme. It's almost synonymous with our country. By having the song sung in different languages, not only shows an approval of multiculturalism, but it also shows a celebration of it as well. In my personal experience with this commercial, I did see it as being very popular on social media. It definitely generated a lot of traffic as well. The whole commercial, Coke definitely sent the message that they were intending to with it. The next commercial that I studied in my findings section rather was a 2017 Pepsi commercial titled Together for Now. So this Pepsi commercial featured reality television star Kendall Jenner, and what happens is that she spontaneously decides to join a protest that is passing by her. And so the population of the protest is definitely very culturally diverse, but what happens is when she joins this protest and marches along for a little while, they ultimately reach a point where they reach a police barricade. And at the police barricade, she takes out a can of Pepsi and then approaches one of the policemen at the barricade and offers it to him. The policeman accepts the can of Pepsi that she gives him, and ultimately everybody in the crowd kind of breaks out into a celebration with that. The first thing I argue that Pepsi did not consider when making this commercial is setting. So the setting of this commercial is it aired during a time where the Black Lives Matter protests were ultimately at a peak. They were becoming very violent across the nation, and they were getting a lot of media attention as well. And so this commercial, the scene where Kendall Jenner is seen approaching the police barricade, this is actually borrowed imagery from actual protests, from the Black Lives Matter protests. And so there is one particular image in mind that I did quote in my paper, but basically with this image being borrowed, this is imagery that generally has violent connotations and isn't really appropriate to be in a television commercial, especially when there's no congruency between the scene of the commercial and the actual product. The next thing that I argue Pepsi did not consider when filming this commercial is persons. So, celebrity endorsements, Christie states, as I quoted in my paper, that celebrity endorsements can either have a very positive impact or a very negative impact. There's not usually a lot of neutral in this area. And so, with Kendall Jenner being a reality television star, she's often in the limelight. I would suspect that a lot of people already have personal opinions about her, and those personal opinions definitely will influence how this commercial is being received, even though the topic of the commercial has nothing to do with the actual star. It has to do with Together for Now and being bold, and that being the theme that Pepsi is trying to convey. As far as the receival of this commercial, I think a lot of people felt like the lighthearted nature and the youthful nature of the commercial and the music that was being played is that it ultimately served to trivialize the historical importance of protests. Like I said earlier, the scene where she does offer the police officer a can of Pepsi is borrowed imagery from a Black Lives Matter protest, and it's one that did become violent. And so, with people approaching police barricades, this is normally an event where at protests it has violent connotations, and this isn't really something that you want to highlight or treat lightly as far as an advertisement is concerned. As far as implications, one of the largest things to consider for implications of this type of issue is public and brand image. So, as far as negative effects go, approaching a cultural issue unethically can definitely show an ignorance to the topic and can separate a company from the audience that they're seeking to influence. In this case, it would be the multicultural population. Perel and De Pascal, who I quoted in my paper, they outline that socially conscious brands are a must nowadays. Brand image influences consumer purchasing decisions. And even outside of the paper, we can see many examples with this. One example that immediately comes to mind is cruelty-free brands. There's definitely been a want for cruelty-free brands, especially in the makeup industry. Another example of this can be seen with Chick-fil-A. When their CEO came out and said that they did not support gay marriage, a lot of the gay community was supportive of protesting the restaurant entirely. So these are just two examples of how brand image definitely influences consumer loyalty as well. Social media is also a factor that puts additional pressure onto this issue. So on social media, word of mouth spreads very, very quickly. People share things, people send things, but more importantly, people also express their opinions. And those opinions serve to influence others, their followers, and the other people that they're socializing with online. So with social media, we can see this come into play with the Pepsi commercial. So obviously the Pepsi commercial, it received a lot of public backlash. It was taken down very quickly. For the Coke commercial, on the other hand, one of the positive influences was that actually on social media, several celebrities were actually saying that they were proud to be part of the Coke family. And I'm actually quoting a tweet by Ryan Seacrest in which he said that after viewing the America is Beautiful commercial. The last thing that I want to touch on for public image on a positive aspect is positive brand image positively affects consumer loyalty. And if consumers are loyal to your brand, then this is obviously going to improve product purchasing. So through these negative and positive or implications, we can definitely see how brand image has the ability to affect a company financially and then politically as well.